Hi, thank you for joining us on this episode of Sports Bets for Free. My name is Scott Jenkins, your host, just a local sports bettor here in Phoenix, Arizona. And hopefully today with our picks and your picks, it's going to be another profitable day for you. It's Sunday, February 25th, basketball slate. We've got a ton of college and NBA games that we're going to hit today. The NBA slate is extremely full, so let's get rocking and rolling into this for you here as we try to get you all of the bets that we've got, because we've got a ton going on. I will also let you know that make sure you do check out the Google Sheets at the end of every episode, especially today, as there's a couple games without any player props. In the comments section, you're going to see a link that says docs.google.spreadsheet and some other stuff behind it. Click into that. You'll be able to look for 23-24 basketball, and you'll be able to get into that one. But we'll get started here on college basketball, get you rolling on that. And then get into that full slate of the NBA like we talked about here. So first game up, SMU traveling to South Florida. South Florida, best team in the conference, but somehow getting 2.5 at home. SMU's played well, but I don't know about well enough to be a 2.5-point favorite here. This game and then the Nebraska game coming up later today are two of our favorite plays in college basketball. But we do like South Florida plus a half first half, plus 2.5 for the game. One more time, South Florida plus a half first half, plus 2.5 for the game. Next game up, Creighton coming off their big win at home against UConn, beating the number one team in the country. And UConn looked fabulous last night, so you can see how kind of impressive that game was in Creighton. Going to Madison Square Garden, playing against St. John's. Of course, Pitino calls his team out less than a week ago. They play okay at DePaul. I expected a little bit more out of them, to be honest with you, but you know, they're not a fantastic team. They're solid. St. John's is. They're not but they're couple. You know, it takes a little bit of time to get things rolling, even with the transfer portal and everything going on. But they're a solid team, but no superstars, anything of that nature on the St. John's team. So we will take Creighton today. We like them quite a bit. Minus 1.5 first half, minus 2.5 for the game. One more time, Creighton minus 1.5 first half, minus 2.5 for the game. Next game up for us, Purdue traveling to Ann Arbor at Michigan. Purdue 13.5-point favorite, total around 152.5. Purdue did not play well against Ohio State. They are a good three-point shooting team. That'll cause a lot of problems for Michigan. And, of course, Zach Edey down below is probably going to win National Player of the Year again. Purdue, much better team here. Michigan is not Michigan of old. So a lot of people might look at that line going, wow, Michigan getting 13.5. This isn't football. They are not that good this year. It's been a big down year for them. We expect Purdue to roll today. Would not surprise me if Purdue wins by 25 in this one. Purdue minus 7 first half, and then minus 13.5 for the game is how we're playing it. Purdue minus 7 first half, minus 13.5 for the game. Next game up, Northern Kentucky, IUPUI. This is what you need to know in this particular matchup. IUPUI, one of the worst teams against the number all season long. Northern Kentucky can score some points, and that's going to cause a problem for IUPUI as they struggle to score. So the 17.5 shouldn't bother you whatsoever. Northern Kentucky minus 9 first half, minus 17.5 for the game. One more time, Northern Kentucky minus 9 first half, minus 17.5 for the game. Next game up, Florida Atlantic traveling to Memphis. Memphis once again starts the season off hot and gets in trouble late. Now they have eligibility concerns. FAU has been one of the best teams, top 25, top 40 team all season long. They were top 10 for a lot of the early part of the season as well. They have a lot of returning starters. They got a lot of guys that have been around a minute. So we do like Florida Atlantic here, going on the road, handling this Memphis crowd. So Florida Atlantic minus a half first half, minus 1.5 for the game. Florida Atlantic minus a half first half, minus 1.5 for the game. Two more games in college basketball that we're on that we'll get to. There are some other ones that draw some interest, and that would be Michigan State. If that line continues to come down, we'll probably look at that one again, and then UAB as well. Two games that we looked at, didn't play, but UAB going to Tulane should be a decent matchup for them as well. But the last two games we are on, Marquette at home, top 10 team in the country. Xavier coming to town. Marquette laying 10.5. Total just under 160. in this particular matchup. Marquette has better guards, better paint play, better defense. So I'm not sure what you could find in Xavier's side that you would really like here. Marquette, one of the top 10 teams in the country, probably going to be a 2 seed, maybe outside 3 seed on that one. But we do like Marquette today to handle their business at home. So it is Marquette minus Marquette minus 6 first half, minus 10.5 for the game. One more time, Marquette minus 6 first half, minus 10.5 for the game. Next game up, Minnesota, the darlings of all sports bettors in college basketball, traveling to Lincoln, Nebraska. Obviously, if you pay attention to sports betting, you'll realize Minnesota's like 23-3 against the spread on there. Nebraska, one of the best covered teams at home. They actually get a cover on the road this last week, winning a game straight up on that one as well. Nebraska's been tough. Hoiberg seems to have his troops in order in Lincoln. I thought this line was going to be closer to 8.5, but the way Minnesota's been playing, the book's got to even this out at some point. They do not want this trend of where Minnesota covers every damn game and everybody's on them. So we will take Nebraska today. We like that number at 6.5. It's one of our favorite plays with South Florida as well. So Nebraska minus 3.5 first half, minus 6.5 for the game. One more time, Nebraska minus 3.5 first half, minus 6.5 for the game. Then we'll get into this NBA slate. There's a ton of NBA action today. First game up, 110 Eastern, Bucks at the 76ers. Bucks 4.5 point favorite, total around 235. The Bucks have been, not good under Doc Rivers. Let's be honest here. For the amount of talent on this team, they have not been fantastic. The 76ers, though, have been even worse without Embiid. Maxey stepped up somewhat, but still not hugely aggressive, especially in the early part of the ball game. Tobias Harris, which is supposed to be a big help, has been an absolute joke. I don't know. The guy can't even get you 20 on a night where they don't really have a lot of scorers. I'm not quite sure what he brings to the table. He's not great defensively either. But, what other option do they have besides run it out, as nobody would pick up the rest of that contract. So the Bucks, I think, have maybe got something figured out against the T-Wolves the other night. They were trailing the whole first half. Third quarter, they got extremely hot and then ended up holding on to beat the T-Wolves in Minnesota. So that was a big win for them. Kind of one of those prove-it-stick type of games. But we do like the Bucks here again today. I just think the 76ers got an extremely lucky win the other night. I don't see it happening 2 games in a row. So we'll take the Bucks minus 1.5 first quarter, minus 3 first half, minus 4.5 for the game. Buddy Hield, though, for the 76ers, his point total has come down to 13.5, so we will take over that. Also, his 3-point total came down over to 2.5 instead of 3.5, so we'll take that as well. Tobias Harris, who we mentioned, we're going to keep riding those under-point totals on him as he cannot seem to fill it up at any point. Tobias Harris under 16.5 points. Giannis over 31.5 points, over 51.5 par points, assists, rebounds combined, over 12.5 rebounds, and under 2.5 turnovers. So one more time in this Bucks 76ers matchup, Bucks minus 1.5 first quarter, minus 3 first half, minus 4.5 for the game. Buddy Hield over 13.5 points, over 2.5 threes. Tobias Harris under 16.5 points. Giannis over 31.5 points, over 51.5 par, that's points, assists, rebounds combined, over 12.5 rebounds, and under 2.5 turnovers. Next game up, one of the more interesting games to me, as we had struggled to figure this one out, Lakers at the Suns. Lakers currently getting 4 heading to Phoenix. This is a 1:40 local time, 3:40 Eastern, 2:41 total. The Lakers have struggled on the road. The Suns have struggled at home. But the big three not probably going to be playing it in today is Bradley Beal. Looks like he's going to be out again. It's been a struggle to keep the 3 guys healthy. Amazingly enough, Durant's been the healthiest of the 3. And if you'd had asked me to bet $1 million at the start of the season, I would have said Booker. But this was the problem with the big 3 all along, was health. And this is what's going to possibly put them into a play-in tournament scenario. I mean, could you imagine having those big 3 and being in the play-in and not a top 6 seed? I mean, to me, I understand they could win a lot of games in the playoffs maybe and make a run, but pure disappointment if that occurs. They have the toughest schedule remaining as well, which doesn't help things. So we're staying away from the side in the total here. Just not a lot of confidence on either team on the situation. We do like quite a few player props today. We'll start off with Anthony Davis over 24.5 points. It was our best bet the other night at 25.5. He smashed that, and now it goes down to 24.5. And he tends to own the Suns, so we'll take AD there. AD over 40.5 par, over 12.5 rebounds, and 2+ blocks. D'Angelo Russell under 17.5 points and over 1.5 turnovers, and LeBron for 2+ threes. So one more time in this Suns-Lakers matchup, Anthony Davis over 24.5 points. AD over 40.5 par, over 12.5 rebounds, 2+ blocks. D'Angelo Russell under 17.5 points, over 1.5 turnovers, and LeBron for 2+ threes. Next game up should be the highest scoring game of the day. Mavericks, Pacers. Mavs favored by 1 heading to Indiana to play the Pacers. 253-ish total depending on what book you're looking at there. It's Luka and Kyrie show versus Halliburton and the troops, right? So I will say this. Siakam's a nice piece for them, for the Pacers since that trade. He's not taken off by any stretch. I think they're still trying to, it might take a few more games, maybe get some more roles defined or so on. And Halliburton's finally back healthy. And Halliburton showed it in the last matchup. We expect him to have another big game today. Pacers are one of the best home dog teams out there. Actually, the Mavs have a good cover record on the road. Tight line here at 1. We do expect a lot of scoring in this particular matchup. Not sure if they're going to hit that total. I mean, when you get to 253 total, you got to remember that's 63.5 points per quarter. That's a boatload. Not to say they can't easily smash it. They couldn't be in the 280s, but we'll stick away from this matchup on not the side on the total on this one. We'll stay away from that one. But we do like the Pacers in this one as a home dog. They've been fantastic. We're actually going to play Pacers money line first quarter, first half, and game. Halliburton over 21.5 points, 4+ threes, 12+ assists. Over 38.5 par, that's points, assists, rebounds combined. And then we like Miles Turner, over 17.5 points, 2+ threes, and over 26.5 par. He definitely is a lot more offensive-minded, especially when Halliburton's in the game to get him the ball. He's not a guy that creates his own shot. Halliburton sets him up tremendously. Derek Lively to get 1 turnover. And then we also like Luka in this matchup as well, over 33.5 points, 4+ threes, over 8.5 rebounds. We'll also sprinkle a little bit on 10+ rebounds. And how do you not like Luka? I mean, he's only leading the league in points. He's just ridiculous. So on there. So one more time in this Pacers-Mavs matchup. Should be an exciting one, especially if you like offense. Pacers money line, first quarter, first half, and game. Halliburton over 21.5 points, 4+ threes made, 12+ assists, over 38.5 par. And then Derek Lively over to get 1 turnover. Miles Turner over 17.5 points, 2+ threes, and over 26.5 par, points, assists, rebounds combined. Luka over 33.5 points, 4+ threes, over 8.5 rebounds. And we'll also sprinkle a little bit on 10+ rebounds, as it was plus 140 on FanDuel, which I thought was a pretty good value there at plus 140 for Luka to get 10. Next game up, Cavs at the Wizards. Wizards, one of the bottom feeders, obviously, in the NBA. Cavs, number 2 seed currently out east. Lost the last 2 games out of the break due to Donovan Mitchell probably being sick. He's missed the last 2. They've lost 2. A couple of games they probably should have won as well. So lose a tough one to the Magic at home and then lose the 76ers. So, but the Wizards, I mean, they've been getting crushed. That has been on the road. Now they're coming back home. 12.5 point line, 234 total. We're going to stay away from those sides, but we do like quite a few player props in this game. Donovan Mitchell, we expect to get back on the court and get back running. Over 27.5 points, through over 3.5 threes, over 38.5 par. We also love Jarrett Allen today, as the Wizards don't have an interior defense since the Gafford trade. So we will take Jarrett Allen over 17.5 points, over 11.5 rebounds, over 28.5 points plus rebounds, and over 1.5 blocks. We're also going to play Denny Avita under 14.5 points. He has struggled since the break, and under 1.5 threes. So one more time in this Cavs-Wizards matchup that I'm sure everybody's dying to watch. Donovan Mitchell over 27.5 points, over 3.5 threes, over 38.5 par. Jarrett Allen over 17.5 points, over 11.5 rebounds, over 28.5 points plus rebounds combined, over 1.5 blocks. And then we get Denny Avita under 14.5 points, under 1.5 3-pointers made. Next game up for us, Thunder at the Rockets. This line has moved. It opened yesterday at 5 when we grabbed it. Kind of thought that this line was going to get a little heavier as the Rockets have struggled going into the break and coming out of it, and the Thunder have been red hot. Now they're going on the road here. Got a couple wins at home. Go to the road. This team is just really exciting to watch. If you haven't watched the Thunder all season long, do yourself a favor, carve out a couple hours and watch this game today. They have been fantastic. SGA, in my opinion, is MVP. We'll see if that happens. I mean, it's hard to go against Jokic. Jokic he's a stat stuffer. I mean, he doesn't score as much as SGA does, but his assists and rebound total is obviously higher. Now, SGA has been really good at steals, but for the last 3 weeks, it's been a little bit, he's only been getting 1, maybe 2 steals a game. He's not having those 3-steal games. If he could get that steal total up, I think that even helps him more when you're talking about for MVP. But he's been fantastic leading this young team. I think they're going to really make a run here for the number 1 overall seed in the West. They've been offensively great. Defensively, they play tough. Holmgren's a great rim protector in the middle. If you haven't watched Chet yet, he's the skinniest 7-foot man you'll ever see in your life. But he is a great rim protector, great shot blocker, and does not get into a ton of foul trouble. Jalen Williams, if you don't know about him, you need to learn about him because he is a part of the basically trio of young stars that they have with SGA, him, and Chet Holmgren have really done a number. Their bench play's been great, as well. And then they've got some nice 3-and-D pieces all the way around, and they have probably more assets still than anybody could ever imagine coming up. So, they're going to have to obviously make some trades and do some things like that to kind of mold this in. But they've done a fantastic job turning this around after, 4 or 5 years of abysmal. But getting SGA was the key piece. That's their superstar. And Holmgren and Jalen Williams, I think, are going to come along here pretty well. Rockets, on the other hand, have been struggling a little bit. Jalen Green, who has a lot of potential, tends to create a lot of turnovers and takes sometimes a lot of bad shots. I will say this, though. I've been really pleasantly pleased with Cam Whitmore from the Rockets coming off the bench. He's been solid for them. I just don't think the Rockets have enough firepower to keep up with the Thunder today. This line probably will move some more, so I'd grab it at 6.5 before it gets to 7+ on this one. But we love the Thunder today. We will take the Thunder minus 2.5 first quarter, minus 3.5 first half, minus 5 for the game. We're all over Holmgren today, so Holmgren over 15.5 points. His 2 games out of the break, he's been in the 20s. Over 1.5 threes, over 26.5 par, over 2.5 blocks. We're also going to play Holmgren 20+ points. It was like plus 230 on FanDuel. We'll play Holmgren 3+ threes. That was almost plus 300 on FanDuel. We'll also play Holmgren 4+ blocks and 5+ blocks. And then we're going to come back. SGA, still getting good value at 2+ threes. It's still over plus 140 at FanDuel. Then we'll also play in this game Cam Whitmore, who I mentioned before, over 12.5 points. Alperen Sengun under 19.5 points. Jalen Green under 1.5 threes. I know he hit 3 in the last game, but he's been really streaky. I've seen him go 0 for 10 out there before, so one of those type of nights maybe on that one. So in the Thunder-Rockets game, one more time, Thunder minus 2.5 first quarter, minus 3.5 first half, minus 5 for the game. Holmgren over 15.5 points, over 1.5 threes, over 26.5 par, over 2.5 blocks. Also, we'll sprinkle some money on 20+ points, 3+ threes, 4+ blocks, and 5+ blocks for Holmgren. SGA, 2+ threes. Jalen Green under 1.5 threes for the Rockets. Senjun under 19.5 points, but we will play Cam Whitmore, who's been really impressive off the bench for them, over 12.5 points. Next game up on the board going to be Warriors-Nuggets. This should be a barn burner. Two extremely experienced teams, 7:10 Eastern time. Warriors at home, 1-point home dog. Nuggets do get a road victory. Of course, it was against the Blazers. Now they got to go against a much better team. The Warriors trying to make a push. I mean, they got to get some stuff going here to make sure they can get into the playoffs here. Steph Curry's been playing pretty well. Didn't have his greatest game the last game. Draymond's, I think, made a big improvement since he came back. It's really improved this team. Klay Thompson now coming off the bench. The Nuggets looks like Jamal Murray's probably going to be out again today. I don't know how many games in a row you can go without Murray. Murray kind of makes that team a championship level team rather than a 4 seed. So on that one, even though Jokic is the star, just having another guy like Murray who can take over the game and give Jokic a little bit of a break is a huge deal. We do love the Warriors today. We will play them. So more Warriors money line first quarter, money line first half, plus 1.5 for the game. Steph Curry over 26.5 points. Also for 5+ threes. That number's come down as he's been at 6. We'll also take him at 6+ threes because he was plus 200 on FanDuel on that one. Then we're also going to take Jokic over 27.5 points. They just don't have the defense on the interior. I think Jokic can get quite a few buckets today on that one. Jokic over 12.5 rebounds. We'll also take Jokic over 2.5 turnovers. Then we've got Porter for the Nuggets under 18.5 points. And then a lot of Draymond Green, folks. Draymond Green, 1+ 3-pointer. He has been money on this bet for, a month? Or since he's been back, he's been hitting at least 1 3-pointer. It's been a huge help to their offense. You spread them out even more when Draymond's hitting threes. Also, Draymond over 6.5 rebounds. That is hammered for us so many times since he's been this season. It's been great. Over 5.5 assists for Draymond. Also, Draymond over 19.5 par in that game as well. So one more time in this Warriors-Nuggets matchup. Warriors money line first quarter, first half, and plus 1.5 for the game. Curry over 26.5 points, 5+ threes and 6+ threes on that one. Jokic over 27.5 points, over 12.5 rebounds on that one, and over 2.5 turnovers as well. Normally he's at 3.5, so an opportunity to maybe steal one there, even though the juice is a little bit higher. Michael Porter under 18.5 points. And then Draymond props for Draymond, 1+ 3-pointer. This ticket has been money all season. Over 6.5 rebounds, over 5.5 assists for Draymond, and then over 19.5 par. That number has come down quite a bit. Points, assists, rebounds combined. I understand Draymond's normally not going to go for like 12, 15 a game. He's normally somewhere in that 7 to 10 range. But if he can get 10, if he gets, let's say 9, that means I need 6 rebounds and 5 assists to get home on that bet. That's even better than the rebound assists if he gets the points. I think he's going to have a better rebound assist game and maybe 6-7 points, somewhere in that range. And then we get 7 to 10 rebounds and we get 7 assists. It sounds like a nice night for Draymond and a lot of cashing on our part as well. So next game up is going to be Bulls Pelicans. This line has moved as well. Looks like from 3.5 to 4.5. Pelicans 4.5 point favorite, 222 total. There are no player props that we were looking at. There are only Bulls player props at the moment. We're leaning Pelicans in this matchup. Looks like CJ McCollum might be out. We're not sure what's going on with Zion. So this is one of those games we do not have any plays on at the moment. But make sure you do check those Google Sheets at the end of the show. In the comments section, it'll say docs.google.spreadsheet. That's a link to get you right in there. Check those out. We'll have those updated, as I said, like we're 9 to 10 hours before game time. Next game up, Magic at the Hawks. Magic coming off of barely getting by Detroit yesterday, but a 1-point favorite today against the Hawks, who have absolutely played like dog doo-doo for some time. They're the worst team against the number all season long. We're leaning Magic in this one, but there are no player props currently on this game. For the Magic side, well, there's a few, but we're not sure who's going to play. Like Trae Young's going to play. We're not sure of a couple things on that one, so we're going to hold off on that particular game as well. So that's one of the 2 games I talked about Those two games happen to be at the same time there. So both at 5:10 Phoenix, 7:10 Eastern on that. So do make sure you check out the Google Sheet so you can get those updated bets a little bit later on today. Next game next game up, Spurs at the Jazz. Spurs currently around a 6.5 point dog heading to Utah, 240.5. Utah was one of the best cover teams in the NBA at home earlier this season. This has died off the last, let's say, 3 weeks. Not sure, like Keontae George and Colin Sexton seem to be bumping heads, probably more than playing together. It's not sure who's going to run the offense on that one. Markkanen has not been putting up his 25 to 30 points a game. He's been struggling to get to the mid-20s for a high. He's normally been in the low 20s or high teens on that one. So a little bit of struggle on that end. The Spurs have been playing a little bit better ball. Main reason is Wemby. Let's be honest here. The reason to watch the Spurs games is to watch Wembanyama. If you have not watched him so far this season, carve out a couple hours, spend some time doing it. Now, he doesn't play 35 minutes a game, which we'd all love to see. We'd be smashing all of these player props on him for sure. But he has been playing 28, 30 minutes a game. And he's exciting in those 28 to 30 minutes. So the Spurs overall as a team, not great though. They don't pose a lot of threats defensively except for Wembanyama, one of the best shot blocker in the game. Let's just be honest with it. I know he's a rookie, but he's the best shot blocker out there. Hell, he's had 10 blocks in a game. He's had a couple games in a row of 5+ blocks. I don't know. And it's not only that, his last game he had 5 blocks and 5 steals. He's fantastic. Not only is he great defensively, but he can score. And he can score in bunches. He's got 3-level scoring. He's fantastic around the rim, obviously being, 8 foot tall, that helps. But he's also good from 3, good from mid-range. Complete player there. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Spurs can do maybe over the next couple seasons to put some players with him to see exactly how great he can be. But all that being said, the Jazz, we're fading the Jazz here. They've just been too cold, even at home. So Spurs plus 1.5 first quarter, plus 4.5 first half, plus 7 for the game. Wembanyama, like I mentioned before, we'll be all over his props. We have been all season long. So Wemby over 23.5 points. We'll also sprinkle a little bit on 25+ points and 30+ points. Wembanyama 2+ threes. We'll also sprinkle a little bit on 3+ threes and 4+ threes. Wembanyama over 10.5 rebounds, over 37.5 par, points, assists, rebounds combined. Wemby over 4.5 stocks or steals plus blocks, whatever you want to call it. This bet's been money all season. Wemby 3+ blocks has been money all season. We're also going to sprinkle a little bit on 4+ and 5+ blocks. Like I mentioned before, I think it's been 5 multiple games in a row for Wembanyama. So one more time in this Spurs-Jazz matchup, and I wish I could find some consistency with the Jazz in order to bet Colin Sexton and stuff again, but it's been win one, lose one, win one, lose. It's just been can't get any consistency going there with Sexton or any of the other guys. So Spurs plus 1.5 first quarter, plus 4.5 first half, plus 7 for the game. Wemby over 23.5 points. Also sprinkle a little bit on 25+ points and 30+ points. Wembanyama 2+ threes, 3+ threes, 4+ threes. Wembanyama over 10.5 rebounds, over 37.5 par. Wembanyama over 4.5 steals plus blocks. Wemby 3+ blocks, 4+ blocks, and 5+ blocks. I know, all Wemby all the time on this channel, right? So as it is everywhere else. Next game up, Hornets at the Trailblazers. Hornets getting 2.5 at Portland. It was 1, so now we're up to 2.5. Big move there, 214 total. I don't like the side here. It's 2 horrible teams. Miles Bridges doing the honorable thing and not saying he wanted to be traded because he wants to pad his stats to go into free agency. I hope nobody picks him up, honestly. Not in the domestic abuse stuff. It's just out of control. We don't like a side or a total here. We do like some player props. They're on the on there. So we're going to go Anthony Simons. Got a little short last night. If he just takes, when he scores, they win. So I don't like he gets hesitant in shots. He only took 15 shots the other night and had 21. But we like Simons over 23.5 points. We'll also take Jeremiah Grant over 22.5 points. Simons 4+ threes, 5+ threes. Brandon Miller under 26.5 par. I know he had a nice run there for about 3 weeks, but that seems to come to an end. And Miles Bridges over 2.5 turnovers. So one more time in this Blazers-Hornets matchup, we got Anthony Simons over 23.5 points, 4+ threes, 5+ threes. Jeremiah Grant over 22.5 points. Brandon Miller under 26.5 par, points, assists, rebounds combined. And Miles Bridges over 2.5 turnovers. Last game of the night, Clippers and the Kings. This line actually moved down. I was surprised. Clippers are only a 6-point favorite at home now, 240 total. I understand the Clippers' last couple games have not looked fantastic. Both road, they are awesome at home. I expect them to get more right today. They're not going against a defensive presence like the Kings are not that. So maybe a little bit more wide open spaces, so to speak. Paul George has been an absolute disappointment, but great to bet the under on for the last month plus. James Harden continues to do what James Harden does, which is he gets his assists and he turns the ball over a lot. So it's definitely the Kawhi Leonard show. Norman Powell off the bench. Westbrook's played pretty decently so far this season off the bench as well. So they're deep, and they'll create a lot of problems, especially on when the second teams come out for both of these. That's a lot of times when the Clippers do make their runs. But we do like the Clippers here today. We think Kawhi has a monster, and that should be enough to hold off the Kings here. So we're going to play Clippers -2.5 first quarter, -3.5 first half, -6.5 for the games where we got it. It's down to 6, so even better. Paul George under 21.5 points and under 31.5 par. These are cashing at all-time rate. I mean, it's ridiculous. He's been under point total in damn near double-digit games in a row. Kawhi Leonard over 25.5 points, over 1.5 threes. We'll also sprinkle a little bit on 3+ threes for Kawhi, over 35.5 par. James Harden, and we love this bet every damn time he plays, and the juice has moved. It was -105 when it opened yesterday, but over 2.5 turnovers again. Harden just tends to cash this at all-time rates. Now, you'll win 6 in a row, and then you'll miss 2, and then you'll win 5 in a row and then miss 2, and then you'll win 7 in a row. And it's what Harden does. Normally, it's even better when he's plus money because he tends to do it against the worst teams. It's just maybe a mental lapse or something to that effect. But Clippers Kings one more time. Clippers -2.5 first quarter, -3.5 first half, -6.5 for the game. Paul George under 21.5 points and under 31.5 par. De'Aaron Fox under 25.5 points. I'm not quite sure. I mean, I love Fox, but he has not been the same player since probably, let's say start of January. Ever since the calendar changed. He was 30 plus a game, and then all of a sudden, I think he got hurt or something, and it has not been the same since on that one. Kawhi Leonard, though, we do love today, over 25.5 points, over 1.5 threes, also 3+ threes as well, over 35.5 par. James Harden, over 2.5 turnovers as well for us on that one. So like I mentioned before at the start of the show and multiple times throughout, do make sure at the end of every episode we have a link to our Google Sheet. This is a ledger of all of our bets, what juice we got those at, how many units we have placed, and then also what book we placed them at. Then obviously after the games are over, the result. So make sure you do check that out when you get some time. And as always, if you could subscribe and get notifications to the YouTube channel, it makes life really simple. Once you hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on for YouTube, you'll get a notification to your phone or device to let you know Sports Bets for Free has dropped some new bets. That'll give you plenty of time to match them up with your bets and give you that ton of confidence you need heading to the betting app or betting window. I do appreciate everybody's support as always and look forward to seeing you on the next episode.